To change is to kill a past version of yourself, because you can choose whether you want the pain of growth or the pain of staying the same.
Rather, the hardest battle that you will fight will not be against the world. It'll be against yourself. That voice that tells you to quit, the habits that hold you back, and the man in the mirror that knows every single one of your weaknesses. I promise, you defeat him, and nobody's stopping you.
When I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me.
No one's coming to save you. No map, no instructions, no easy way out. The way out is through. Life's chaos will find you. That's the reality of chasing anything worth having. Your obstacles are just tests of your will. If the door is locked, break it down. If there is no path, carve a new one. There is no waiting for permission, no crying out for help. Winning is reserved for those who refuse to quit. It's simple. Grow or die. No one owes you and no one owns you. No one is coming to steal your problems. You must save you. Figure it out, no matter what.
Do whatever it takes, reach your goals, make your dreams come true in whatever it is in life. And you can always do more.
The more you put in, the more you get out. So stop fucking making excuses. Get out there and do whatever the fuck it takes to reach your fucking goals.
What stands in your way becomes the way. In other words, the obstacle is the way. Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. In other words, obstacles do not block the path.
A lot of people now are talking. I hear so much talk. I don't hear a lot of work. I hear a lot of people telling you what you should be doing, how you should be doing it, how you should be fucking living. And I look at them and you're fat, you're out of shape, you look like shit, but you're telling a motherfucker how to live. No, man.
And the pain of staying the same is when days, months, years have gone by, and you realize that you are in the exact same place that you've always been. You have put no effort into yourself, and all you have to show for your life is your excuses. When you sit around and waste your potential, it's the same as saying, I won the lottery, but I'm not gonna spend any of my money.
If you could talk to the 20-year-old Mike, what would you say to him?
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt bad. It's gonna really hurt. If it's gonna hurt him really bad.
I'm Mike Tyson. I'm labeled a dangerous grab bag. I really figured out that I said, why am I going to this test? And they didn't understand why I was going to. One of the doctors said, they're afraid that you're going to hurt somebody, either in the ring and out the ring. And I was dumbfounded. I said, what about somebody hurting me?
Sometimes my whole life I thought I was in the guard of the savages. Look where I came from. I hated, felt sorry for myself. Had chips on my shoulder because I was always poor. I was uneducated. I'm a monster. Watch me ring and all that stuff. And I just found out I'm a little scary boy. And I'm no tough guy.
Will anyone care about me being hurt? No one ever cares about Mike. They look at me like I'm some juggernaut. I'm stone cold, no emotion. But maybe I project myself to be that way because that's my defense mechanism. But in all actuality, I'm very fragile. And that's why I strike out so much, because I'm fragile and easily hurt.
I lose fear. I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. I'm what fear looks like. Look at me. If you think anybody's afraid of me, I'm probably 1,000 times more afraid of them than they are of me. That's why I'm more aggressive than they are. My whole life is fear-based.
How did you endure that, survive that?
Well, I'm made for that. That's what I'm made for. Absolutely, that's who I am. I want to be up more than anybody wants me to be down.
But just because I'm that type of person, I'm that extreme of a person, they fingered me to be a monster. I am who I am, and I'm going to die being who I am, and I'm going to live being who I am. This is just who I am.
And if you can't handle me being I am, you have a problem within yourself.
The more I hurt them, the more spectacularly I hurt them, the better my life would be. And that's how my mindset was. The most successful people that ever lived in history are megalomaniacs, but they got a low self-esteem. They don't think much about themselves, but they think they're God on the other hand too. Anytime you want to be the best in the world at anything, it's going to be disappointment. It's almost like you almost have to give your happiness up to accomplish your goal.
I was thinking of a line of George Orwell where he says autobiography is only to be trusted when it reveals something disgraceful. A man who gives a good account of himself is probably lying, since any life, when viewed from the inside, is simply a series of defeats.
How do I express this? I was never able to understand the concept of greatness. I just never was able to understand that concept of greatness. As time went on and I've gotten older, I met many journeys on people that I met on my journey. The majority of greatness in itself doesn't come with goodness. The two don't coexist with one another. I spent all my life trying to become great because I had such a low self-esteem. And I realized late in life that all great men are not good men. And then so I tried to embark on a whole different career and try to become good. So how do we live in those two dimensions at once? You want that greatness for self-gratification, but you want goodness from a human perspective. And I really have no idea, no clue how do I juggle both of them and be in harmony? And then in all actuality, they don't exist. You have to pick a side. I always cry before I fight.
You did always cry before?
Yeah.
What were you crying about?
I don't know. It was just, that's just who I am.
Yeah, but go further. What's the emotion?
I'm getting ready to change into somebody I don't like.
You're getting ready to change into the fighter.
Yeah.
And you don't like that fight?
Not really. No.
Wow. You were the greatest fighter that ever lived, and you didn't like that guy.
No, because he came more with fighting. He brought more than just fighting with him.
What do you mean?
He brought like jealousy, enviness, guilt. He brought a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's who I was. Everything that was bad was that guy. See all your fights and stuff? All your knockouts is spectacular. Know what that means? All this good stuff happening to you. You know what that means? That you're favored by God. You know that, right? But you may not know too. When you're favored by God, you're also favored by the devil. He's coming for you too. So you just gotta be strong and stay on the right side. Whose side you gonna go on? He's gonna give you power too. He's gonna get in your head too, but whose side you gonna stay with? You stay with who brought you here. You go home with the guy that brought you to the dance. Fear is our friend. Fear is like fire. You know what I mean? If you're afraid of it and you let it get out of control, it can destroy you and everything around you. But if you control it, it can cook food for you, it can heat you, keep you warm. It could be your friend, it can fight for you. You know what from my experience I found out? That God, it tests you. It tests you and see how much of this you can take before you say, let's be finished with this. You know what I mean? It wants to show you something. He wants to see how much you can take, how much you can handle of life. You say you love life, you want to live life, I'm going to show you life. Life is beautiful, but you have to accept the good and the bad as being beautiful. You can't accept the good, oh, this is beautiful, then we lose some of our life sucks. Life is beautiful, but life gives us the ability to just know them in our journey in life. Listen, the ups and downs are not over, believe it or not, in life. And my whole success is from belief, something I can feel, but not actually see. Who is the real me?
the sad guy, the happy guy, the confident guy, the guy with remorse. Like, there's lots of different Mike Tyson.
We're all creatures of contradiction because we truly don't know who we are. We're constantly searching who we are. But I don't know. It's just that makes me who I am. If I wasn't that way, you wouldn't be interviewing me. That makes me Mike. You know what I mean? I'm not a straight guy. Doing what I do and normal don't go along with one another. You like that reflection you see in the mirror. I guess everything could be cool with that.
Does it make sense for you to have a happy ending?
I don't know about that. We're dealing with life on life terms. It's out of my control, truly. When that feeling comes, you have no control over it. I might want to die tomorrow, and that's just what it is. And that's how my mind works. I don't know what I want to do. I just know right now I want to live and experience life, and I don't know what life has in store for me, but I'm not afraid to find out.
When you make a choice and say, come hell or high water, I'm going to be this, then you should not be surprised when you are that. Man, I gave my soul to this game. There's nothing more I could give. Nothing. But I'm telling you, it goes by fast. And if you don't give it your all, you're going to regret it. I love what I do. And it's as simple as that.
What does love feel like for you?
What does love feel like? So I think I'd describe it as a beautiful journey. It has its ups and downs. Things are never perfect. But through love, you continue to persevere. And you move through them. Through that storm, a beautiful sun emerges. Right? And inevitably another storm comes. And guess what? You ride that one out too. So I think love is a certain determination and persistence to go through the good times and the bad times with the someone or something that you truly love. I had a summer where I played basketball when I was like 10 or 11 years old, and I scored not a free throw, not a lucky shot, not a breakaway layup, 0 points. And I remember crying about it, being upset about it, and my father just gave me a hug and said, listen, whether you score 0 or score 60, I'm gonna love you no matter what. Now that is the most important thing that you can say to a child. Because from there, I was like, okay, that gives me all the confidence in the world to fail. I have the security there. But to hell with that, I'm scoring 60. There's a choice that we have to make as people, as individuals. If you want to be great at something, there's a choice that you have to make. We all can be masters at our craft, but you have to make a choice. And what I mean by that is inherent sacrifices that come along with that. I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. So when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library. The Mamba mentality simply means trying to be the best version of yourself. That's what the mentality means. It means every day, you're trying to become better. And it's a constant quest. It's an infinite quest. I want to be one of the best basketball players who have ever played. Okay, how do I get there? And every decision I made in my life was centered around the process of helping me eventually get there. Like you're always going after it. Always going after it, always going after it. And if there's a challenge that ensues, oh, good, I want to see how I stack up to that. So I had that purpose. And once I had that purpose, every decision that I made was centered around that purpose. I think the best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. You always want to outwork your potential. As hard as you believe you can work harder than that. So we go after. What I've learned is to always keep going, always. There's been times, particularly early in my career, where it just feels like this is the end. But what I've come to find out is that, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And I gave my soul to this game, man. There's nothing more I could give. Nothing.
You guys know that, if you do the work, you work hard enough, dreams come true. You know that, we all know that. But hopefully what you get is the understanding that those times when you get up early and you work hard, those times when you stay up late and you work hard, those times when you don't feel like working, you're too tired, you don't want to push yourself, but you do it anyway. That is actually the dream. That's the dream. It's not the destination, it's the journey.
Every kid, every person has the ability to put one foot in front of the other, right? So like if you're saying, okay, I'm going to climb Mount Everest, and you're at the bottom of the mountain and you look up and you're going, I'm not going to climb Mount Everest, right? But if you break it down into sections and you're just one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, next thing you know, you're at the top of the mountain. So like as a kid, I said, I want to be the best ever, right? And now you go through your life and everything you do is try to be the best ever, be the best ever, be the best ever. And as you get older, you start understanding that those things are very superficial things, right? And everybody has a different opinion about it. No matter what you do, I can win 20 championships. There's always an opinion on who's the best. Everybody has different opinions. And so I started really kind of understanding maybe that's not the important thing. Maybe the important thing is to, how do we as a team grow? How do I help my teammates be better? So that was the first change for me. And then as I got older still, it became more about how are you inspiring others, right, to find themselves. That is the ultimate championship. How do you use your passion and use that to inspire somebody else to create their passion? And then how can they pass that on to the next person? That is true success. The lesson I cherish the most is how important it is to love what you do. Always seek out things you love and always work hard once you find it. You can't stop people from trying to limit your dreams, but you can stop it from becoming a reality. My mind can handle the grind, but my body knows it's time to say goodbye. And that's okay. You asked for my hustle. I gave you my heart. This is what we talk about all the time. You have a bump in the road, you fall, you get back up, and you go after it again, right? That's what we do.
You must become a vigilant gatekeeper of everything you allow to go into your mind. Anything that gets into your mind is entering holy ground. When you recognize who you really are and why you've been put on this earth, you'll start to understand why the enemy works so hard to stop you, why the negative thoughts and the self-doubt seem to come at you like bullets out of nowhere. You were not put on this earth to be average. You weren't put here to sit the sidelines. You were not put here to fail. You were given gifts and talents and skills so that you could go out and make a difference. You were put here for a reason and a purpose. You were put here to be great.
We all have ambitions, we all have dreams and goals and desires that we want, but really what gets you to where you want are habits, are daily habits. There are negative habits that you can't get rid of, but there are other habits that, like discipline, like working every day, like taking steps to reach your goals, that are immensely liberating. And you can get rid of your bad habits through developing positive habits, right? So the goal here is to focus less on the giant dreams and on the everyday process of changing your thinking.
It's not really about what you want. It's about what you're willing to do to get it. And in that, maybe you have to give something up that may not be a good habit to replace it with a better habit. Everybody got to make that decision. So it's not just about what you want. It's about what are you willing to do to get it. That's what it all comes down to, guys.
I feel to be at the pinnacle of any game. In whatever you do, you've got to be a little bit gone to it. You're not all there. You've got to be almost insane to your craft. Not a lot of people can understand that.
People think being consistent means never falling off track, but that's not true. That's called perfection. And for most, that's just not realistic. Consistency means staying on track most of the time. And when you fall off, whether it was intentional or not, you pick yourself up and you get right back on. Consistency is about being persistent, not perfect.
It can do. All it takes is determination. You'll get your chance. Sometimes it doesn't come as quick as you'd like. There's a lot of hurdles, but you will get there. You have to believe in that.
For kids to bet on themselves. Take some chances, get your knowledge, know what you're doing, and then go 2 feet in and then bet on yourself. If you go to somebody, you ask for somebody and they shoot you down, don't let that be the answer. You have a passion for something and it's burning. It's your job to curate that passion. I really believe that. You don't take no's for answers.
You never look at yourself in the mirror and say, you let you die. Until you get to that point, you let you die. You're not brave enough. You want to put it on somebody else. I have standards. I have values. I chose to do that. But you need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you?
Nothing in life is promised except death. If you have the opportunity to play this game of life, you need to appreciate every moment. A lot of people don't appreciate their moment until it's past.
Seneca said there is no greatness without stillness in it, and I think that's right. What kind of success do you have if you miss every sunrise and sunset, if you're always busy, if you never have time with your family, but also if you never have time with yourself? And so if you don't have moments of stillness in your life, I would ask you what kind of life you're living. And if the kind of life you're living is really your best life.
If you do not have clear goals for your life, you are condemned forever to work for those who do. You see, in life, it's very simple. Either you are working toward the accomplishment of your goals or you're working toward the accomplishment of other people's goals.
Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions, because we can accommodate and adapt. The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The secret to an art known as turning obstacles upside down, to act with a reverse clause, so there's always a way out or another route to get where you need to go, so that setbacks or problems are always expected and never permanent, making certain that what impedes us can empower us.
What is a mistake? Everybody will do something which will go wrong. Making something wrong the first time is not a mistake. It is your chance to correct it. But making the same situation over and over, wrong again and wrong again because of the unwillingness to learn something from it, that is the mistake.
The hardest battle that we fight is between what we don't want to feel and what we know we must do. Following your intuition isn't always rainbows and sunshine. Sometimes it's making decisions for the greater good that really hurt. Just remember, you are choosing what's best for your soul, and that is worth it.
Anything you want good, you can have. So claim it. Work hard to get it. When you get it, reach back. Pull someone else up. Each one, teach one. Don't just aspire to make a living. Aspire to make a difference.
The goal is to die fulfilled. How do you die fulfilled? You have to die unfilled. You have to empty out all of your efforts. You have to empty out all of your knowledge, all of your giving, all of your help. everything you have into making this world a better place, bringing your vision into a reality which should impact many lives.
There's a saying, this quote that I really believe in, that when the pain of the current reality becomes greater than the fear of change, that's when we change. So like when the pain becomes so intense that it's greater than the fear that you have of the unknown, then you'll go into the unknown.
I had to convince myself that I'm gonna make it. What it does, it makes you feel like there's gonna be points that people are gonna mistake my confidence for arrogance. They don't understand the process of it.
You have to envision something that is more powerful than you. Something has to get you out of bed.
Every day is day one. Every day you're deciding what you're going to do. And you are not trapped by what you were or who you were, because you never want to get trapped by dogma. You never want to get trapped by history. Doesn't mean you discard history or ignore it, but you can't be blindly following what you've done. And that's the heart of day one, is you're always starting fresh.
Time of year when everybody's talking about what they're going to do next year and what they're going to become and what they're going to achieve and how they're going to change and how they're going to do all these things that they have failed at doing many previous years before this year. What makes you think that next year is going to be any different? What makes you think that when January 1st rolls around, that all of a sudden you're going to change everything about yourself and become this brand new version of yourself? Haven't you told yourself this before? How many Mondays have you told yourself that you were going to start? How many years have you made the same resolutions that you failed to keep? You have to understand that if you are to make a change in your life, you have to develop discipline.
Because to be a winner, you want to be disciplined. You want to know what you're doing, and then you want to be on the edge where your skills are being developed. And if you're going to be on the edge where your skills are going to be developed, you're at a place where losing is always a possibility, because otherwise you're not pushing yourself beyond your current capacity.
I kind of feel like every day you have a certain amount of energy. And I'm not talking calories, I'm talking like mental. A certain amount of stuff which you could put out into the world. And I think the more you have to deal with everything else on this, what do you have left if you want to do something productive, you know? How much stuff are you paying mind to? How much stuff are you putting energy into thinking about? How much effort are you putting into stuff that not only is not going to contribute to anything meaningful for yourself, but also just weighs you down?
How much faster would you achieve your goals if it was just you and your goal? Not you and your goal and Netflix and video games and social media and friends you don't like and movies and shows and all these distractions that are splitting your attention in a million different directions. You can blame your lack of accomplishment on your friends, on your family, on this, on that. But the reality is, if it was just you and your goal and no other noise, no other distractions, I guarantee you would have nothing better to do than achieve your goal. So look around at your life and identify the things that take your attention away from the person you want to be and the things you want to accomplish, and remove that shit. Because if your goals are as important to you as you say they are, why would you voluntarily make it harder to achieve?
And do what you do, right? Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop looking at what everybody else is doing, and stay focused on what it is that you feel God has called you to do. Specifically, that's your greatness, that's where your power is. People start to rush their lives based upon highlight reels on social media. I said, the part you forget, nobody showed you the failures. Nobody showed you the shortcomings. People very rarely show you the adversity and the opposition. And so do what you do, right? Approach it how you approach it. That's what God will bless you upon. It's not you doing it in a way that somebody else does it. No, he plays greatness in you. Do it how you do it, in a way that only you can do it, so God can bless it.
Stop thinking that it could be better. that you should have said it differently, that you should have done it another way. It doesn't matter. What's done is done. And the rest is just your overthinking, making it out to be more than it is.
Can't just wait for things to get perfect. You just go out and do stuff. Your motivation. You need discipline. Because motivation's not there every day. I'm missing motivation most days.
Every time I start doing things I don't want to do, I grow. So wherever you're finding yourself, whatever level of discomfort you're finding yourself in, look, just toughen up. Just toughen up, okay? We have a world full of weaklings, and nobody needs a weakling.
Because when you do hard things, you then are fortified and reinforced for the inevitable hardship that life is. Because all of life is hardship with brief moments of bliss, my friend. And if you have created a zone of comfort in a world of hardship, you become unstoppable. You must adopt that mindset. You will not be the victim in life.
You're going to start to create something. You have no motivation, you have no drive, you have no ambition, but you're going to force it to happen anyway, because that's what bad motherfuckers do, and that's what you are. So you're going to go through day by day by day doing the work regardless of how you feel like it. And then what's going to happen is you're going to see a little bit of a result. And when you see that little bit of result, you're going to get happy, because now you can clearly see that if I do the work, this result will happen. So if you're in this phase where it doesn't feel like it's worth it, where it doesn't feel like it's very fun, just remember, if you keep going and you do not let your feelings dictate what your actions will be, the results will always be there.
All the experts are agreed that in each of us, there are deep reservoirs of ability, even genius, that we habitually fail to use. Why? We know that most people desire by nature to succeed. But what is success? What is this word that has become so famous in the world? What does it mean? Most people don't know what success is all about. And since they don't know what it's about, they really don't know where to look for it. Success is really nothing more than the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. This means that any person who knows what he's doing and where he's going is a success. Any person with a goal toward which he's working is a successful person. The problem with most people is that they're playing the world's most unrewarding game. And the name of the game is follow the follower, a goal. A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder. He doesn't know where he's going. He then belongs to that 95% that he's just living day by day, month after month, like a starfish or an amoeba. He needs to know where he's going. Back in the early days of navigation, sailors used to see a strange sight in the Antarctic. They'd see a giant iceberg towering high out of the sea, and it would be moving against the wind. The wind would be blowing this way. The great iceberg would be moving right into the teeth of the wind. And this, of course, frightened the sailors whose ships were powered by the wind, until it was discovered that, of course, only a fraction of the great berg was visible, and that its huge, ponderous roots were caught in the great currents of the ocean. And it was being borne purposely along its way, regardless of the winds and the tides on the surface. Well, this is what a man needs. He needs his roots deep in the great main stream of his own choosing. And then he'll move along his way, regardless of the winds on the surface of his life or short-term expediency. And he'll get to where he's going.
I think you got to stop waiting for someone to come along and root for you. You've got to do that for yourself. And if you get lucky, you'll find a few people who really believe in you. But if your plan relies on luck to succeed, it's not a plan, it's a bet. And if you're gonna bet, then you might as well bet on you, not them.
You would rather find purpose than a job or career. Purpose crosses disciplines. Purpose is an essential element of you. It is the reason you are on the planet at this particular time in history. Your very existence is wrapped up in the things you are here to fulfill. Whatever you choose for a career path, remember the struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose.
It says adopt a mindset. I'm not stuck, I'm being shaped. You are not stuck, you are being shaped, right? So often we go through seasons and we feel stuck. We feel like we're not moving, we feel like we're not growing. No. Remember, every season is serving a greater purpose. And those seasons where you may feel stuck, understand, no, you're just being shaped. You're being shaped in order to step into the new season that is for you. But in order to get there, you have to be shaped in the right way. So what may feel like being stuck in the moment is really you just being shaped for alignment and authenticity so that you can step into that next season, right? But embrace those seasons where you gotta be shaped. Embrace those seasons where you have to be pulled and pushed in order to be moved internally so that you can step into what is for you externally. Embrace those seasons because they're serving a purpose and they are so incredibly vital. Those are really the seasons that develop your character, develop your resilience, develop your strength, develop you internally into the person that can step into the things that are for you.
Becoming closer to your vision, becoming the person that you strive to be, does not demand perfection, but rather the persistent and pure desire for better and for good. It's easy for us to get hyper-fixated on not making a mistake or not making a wrong turn. When we start to overanalyze and paralyze ourselves with fear or doubt, it makes us hesitant in the way we pursue action. And hesitancy is not good. Now, these mistakes, these failures, these wrong turns ultimately do not matter. The only thing that is demanded of you in order to make the changes that you want to make is the pure and persistent desire to be better and to be good. And this, paired with time, anything can be.
If you can get a mental image of the person you would most like to become, begin now to act as that person would act in everything you do. Gradually, imperceptibly, you will actually become that person. It goes back to what the great German poet and philosopher Goethe once said. Before you can do something, you must first be something. Before you can do what you would most like to do, you must first become the person who can do it. A woman cooking dinner has only to act like a great chef to turn out a better meal. The student who begins to act like a top student will begin to get better grades. You can even look much better by simply acting like the person you would most like to look like and be like. The secret is to get and hold fast in your mind the mental image of the person you would most like to be. Then in every situation you act and talk as you feel that person would. You make the kind of decisions you think that person would. This is the way to constantly grow into a better, more effective person.
Yes, I know you're tired. I know you're tired of making and breaking promises with yourself over and over and over. It's a cycle. You make a promise, you break the promise. You make the promise, you break the promise. In this new year, you're making so many promises. In the back of your mind, in the back of your heart, in the depths of your heart, you're like, I'm going to break this promise. It's time to not do that. It's called discipline. It's called set the plate and run it. Set it and run it. Has nothing to do with how you feel. You set the play, feelings aside, run the play.
There's a quote by Carl Jung that says, "In all chaos, there is a cosmos. And in all disorder, there is a secret order." Us as humans are experiencing this chaos and this disorder on a daily basis at a very personal level, not only externally, but internally. And what this quote is saying is that maybe it's for a reason. And I think it's very hard for us to grasp that all this pain and all this disorder and all this unknown could potentially, maybe, be for a reason, be a part of a harmony that we can't hear. And when you really get to the root of it, you're left with a choice. Do I want to live a hopeless life? Or do I want to live a hope-filled life? And I choose to believe the latter. I choose faith. I choose hope. I choose to look chaos and disorder in the eye and say, you know what? Maybe you're doing me a favor. Maybe you're just a lesson that I really need to learn and grasp to take my next step forward. Things aren't falling apart. They're falling into place.
There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. But basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be. 7 little words that I think are perhaps the most important things that we can learn and master in our lives. This old proverb notion that I become what I think about all day long. And once you know that what you think about is what expands, you start getting real careful about what you think about. You don't allow your thoughts to be on anything that you don't want or that you wouldn't want to have manifest or show up for you in your life.
It's the only life we've got. And remember to think. Imagination is everything, and we can become what we can imagine. If you find yourself getting depressed and down at the mouth, as we all get once in a while, you might want to remember this quotation by Dean Briggs. He said, "Do your work. Not just your work and no more, but a little more for the lavishing's sake. That little more which is worth all the rest. And if you suffer as you must, and if you doubt as you must, do your work. Put your heart into it, and the sky will clear. And then out of your very doubt and suffering will be born the supreme joy of life." Believe it or not, in an age when we've come to nearly deify leisure time, we've almost lost sight of the fact that virtually all our satisfactions, rewards will come not from our leisure, but from our work. And don't forget the strangest secret. We become what we think about.
I feel like too often we allow our present moment to be defined by the past in terms of everything that happens. I think in a lot of ways, if we don't change the way we think about our current circumstance or don't change the way we think about our lives, then it's not going to change. We keep on repeating the same thoughts and the same experiences via our thoughts. And in that way, we're experiencing the same reality. I feel like regardless of how new each day is and regardless of how new every circumstance is, in terms of life continuing to move forward, as long as our mind remains stagnant in some type of previous state, nothing is actually going to change. And that's why I feel like it's important to instill some type of belief in yourself when it comes to your future. If you believe that you can, why haven't you tried? And if you don't believe in yourself, then there's no point in trying at all. I think it's important to sort of instill some type of action based on the faith that we have in ourselves. Like if you truly think you can do something, then it's your responsibility to go out and do it. And I feel like even if you don't, it's your responsibility to truly figure out. I feel like a lot of us try to answer our own questions without actually going out there and finding a solution.
You can't go to the future holding on to the biology of your past. Decide what thoughts you can bring to your future. Write them down. Thoughts like, I can't, it's too hard, I'll never change, I'll start tomorrow, what's wrong with me, it's someone else's fault. Decide on what behaviors or actions or unconscious habits you have to change. How do you talk? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? Just become so conscious of those behaviors that you'll never go unconscious again. And lastly, you have to decide what emotions no longer belong in your future. That means if you want to be wealthy, you can't take lack. If you want to be healthy, you can't take insecurity or fear. You got to begin to condition your body to a new mind. If you do this every single day, your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. Change any one of those things and you change your life.
What if it truly works out better than you ever imagined? Think about it for a second. How many of the wonderful things that have happened to you in your life were perfectly planned? How many did you see coming? How many happened in accordance to your timeline? Showed up when you most expected it? Some of them? Any of them? Probably not the majority of them. So with that being said, I know that you've tried 1,000 times before, but what if this next go opens the door that you've been waiting for? Or better yet, what if this next go opens the door that's better than you ever expected? Remember, it's your responsibility to keep moving, keep learning, keep trying, keep trusting in the process, and it may just be better than you ever imagined.
Real confidence only takes the place of the part you've been playing. Now, your life will not be transformed overnight. There'll be no sudden miracles, perhaps, but steadily, day by day, you'll grow into the image you hold in your mind. If you doubt this, try it for 30 days and watch what happens. You've got nothing to lose. The The time is going to pass anyway. Why not put it to work, becoming the person you most want to become? It's the trick of the experts in every field.
Study yourself, make yourself better. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Learn from her. Don't change who you are to become somebody else. Think about the time that you spend in your life trying to be somebody you're not. If you put that time and effort and energy into being who you were and who you are, how much farther along would you be in life?
6 months. You got 6 months left in the year. Why don't you take those 6 months and donate that time to your future self? Why don't you commit to something that you're gonna thank yourself for doing 6 months from today? Because when January 1st rolls around, you can either be 6 months closer to your goals, or you can be exactly where you are right now, if not a little further away. You can either get to January 1st and be so pissed off about what you did the previous 6 months that you feel like you have to change your whole personality with a whole list of resolutions, or you can get to January 1st and have things be going so well that you feel like you don't have to change anything at all.
Consistency compounds. When consistency compounds, you get a good life. Many times people want to rush, they want to accelerate the journey, but they don't understand that the journey is lifelong. There is no end goal, there is no end destination. You are in this journey from the moment you were born until you die. So today is just another brick that you're laying to build your ideal house.
What's that deep-rooted reason? So when fear shows up, when failure shows up, when haters show up, when the numbers ain't going right show up, what's gonna keep you committed? What's gonna keep you consistent? You've been consistent in a lot of stuff in life. Are you trying to say that you can't be consistent at something that you love? You can't be consistent at your dreams? You can't be consistent at something that means the world to you? You've been consistent at the wrong things. You've been consistent at pleasing people. You've been consistent at working for somebody else. And you telling me you can't bring that same energy to what you called to do? Come on.
I'm gonna tell you this, bro. There is no getting out of the work. There's no shortcuts. There is no easy route. And there is no quick fix to becoming the greatest version of yourself. The longer that you avoid the hard work, the more comfortable you get in life. Is stay comfortable in the depression, stay comfortable in the situation that you're in right now. Because when you're comfortable, you lose motivation, you lose focus, you lose sight of your goals, you lose sight of where you want to be at in life. You have the ability to make those changes. There is no difference between you and successful people. The difference is what they do. Your life is created by what you do, your daily habits. Your daily habits determine what your life is going to look like. Who you surround yourself with determines what your life is going to look like. If tomorrow wasn't promised, what would you give for today? Forget everything else. Forget everything else. Forget that there was any sunlight left. What would you spend today? Think about it. We get one opportunity in life, one chance in life to do whatever you're gonna do, to lay your foundation, to make whatever hope you're gonna make, whatever legacy you're gonna leave your legacy. And it's found through effort. We're the ones that's gonna die with us. But effort, nobody can judge that. A effort is between you and you. Effort ain't got nothing to do with nobody else.
Pain of discipline or the pain of regret. Go for the discipline because it weighs ounces. The regret weighs tons.
95% of our decisions are made by how you feel in the moment. And that is the problem. Do you feel like making that cold call? No, you don't. Do you feel like doing that third set of reps? No, you don't. And if you accept the fact that you may never feel ready and you may never feel motivated and you may never feel courageous, and that's okay, but you can still push yourself forward. As you start to see yourself becoming the person that takes action, guess what happens? You build the skill of confidence and courage.
You think that everything the mind tells you, I need to follow. That means freedom. No. For us, it's the other way around. To learn and not follow what the mind tells you. This is the first step towards freedom.
You have to constantly rewrite your book every day of your life. These are conversations I have with myself. And I say it everywhere I go, the most important conversation when you have with yourself. You live with it every single day. But most of our conversations are not the right ones. They're not the ones that are gonna push us to the place we need to go. They're the ones that are gonna keep us sitting in that toxic environment that you've helped create and everybody else helped create, and you just live in it. And that conversation just plays in your head, and that becomes you.
Working on yourself, talking to yourself. That's so very important. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.